How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Hello and welcome to or welcome back to Mystery Inc. My name is Richie, and today we have another Fear Street book review for you. And today we're talking about book number 16, I think it was, from the original series, which is The Cheater. It feels like ages since I've read a Fear Street book. I don't remember exactly what the last one was or when it was, but yeah, I just finished reading The Cheater. Actually, I think College Weekend was the last one I read. Or was it switched? Might have been switched. I don't remember. Anyway, today we're talking about The Cheater. And before we get into it, I really enjoyed this one. It was a good solid read. Nothing super crazy, I guess, but just pretty solid. So, in this book, we have our protagonist here, Carter Phillips, who's this girl on the cover, and a few other main characters. We have her boyfriend Dan, this boy in their class named Adam Messner, I think was his last name. And then we have Carter's best friend, Jill Bancroft. And then there's a few other minor characters that show up here and there, but those are kind of our main cast, if you will. And so, I'm sorry, I guess Carter's father, who's a judge, I don't remember if they ever actually say what his real name is. He's just referred to as Judge Phillips throughout the whole book. Anyway, so basically the story, Judge Phillips has this big ongoing case that is talked about several times. That's kind of like a B plot throughout the story, but the main focus is on Carter, and she's very good in school except for math. And her father has these lofty goals of her going to Princeton, and so there's a lot of pressure on her to do well. And the book starts out with her having taken this advanced math test and not scoring so well on it. At least, as far as her father expects. Her father expects her to get like at least a 700. I don't know exactly what the scale ranking is for this, but she had like less than a 600, I think. I don't remember exactly what the number was, but so he kind of expects her to retake the test, or there's like a second test that she can take to see if she can improve her score at Waynesbridge, which is outside of Shadyside. I don't remember if it was at the college. I think, is that the college that was in College Weekend? I'm pretty sure it was. Anyway, so Carter's obviously got a lot of pressure on her, and she doesn't think that she can actually, pass the test with the score that'll make her, father happy. And so she jokingly is talking with her boyfriend while they're out at this diner, and comments about maybe she should just have him take the test for her and pretend to be her, because Carter could also be a boy's name. And obviously Dan's not okay with this. He's the super straight laced good kid, and so he ends up leaving. Carter stays behind a little bit, finishing up her milkshake. And this boy Adam comes up to her, who is working there and is also in their math class. He's really good at math and offers to take the test for her in exchange for a single date. You can see where this is going. So he does. He takes the test, and then all of a sudden Carter's on the hook for this date. She ends up going out with him. So Carter and like her circle of friends are kind of like the rich kids in Shadyside, and then Adam is definitely on the poorer side of things. He lives on Fear Street. And so anyway, she ends up going out with him to this place called the Underground, which is this like club. It kind of made me think of that one scene, if you've ever seen Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, when he's going to meet with the hacker guy. That's kind of what I imagined this club scene being like. Anyway, they go on this date, and then he ends up kissing her kind of out of the blue at the end of the date. And she thinks, okay, that's over with. But then he says, what are you doing tomorrow? She says she's going to, the fancy club to play tennis. He says, okay, I'll meet you there. And she thinks he's just joking. But he ends up showing up there. And they end up playing tennis. And Carter's best friend Jill is there. And this boy that likes her, that's kind of a snobby, like, rich jerk. Anyway, Adam and Carter play together. They end up beating the other two. The rich jerk storms off. We never really interact with him again, at least not, in this first section of the book. And then we have Jill, who is kind of, like, what's going on to Carter? Like, what's up with Adam? Like, you're dating Dan. What's going on with this? And Carter just keeps getting, deeper and deeper into lies, pretending that she and Adam don't really have, anything going on because she doesn't want to get caught for cheating and this, that, and the other. Anyway, a variety of things keep going on with Adam where, things just keep getting more and more intense and aggressive with, what he wants. He starts blackmailing her in ways, and then, Carter just continues to get more and more, upset and frustrated with what's going on, and deeper into lies with Dan and then Jill. Things kind of come to a head where, trying to remember, Adam wants to set Jill up with his like loser friend, and so they end up going on this double date that Carter convinces Jill to, even though she's kind of dating this other boy. It's kind of to get Carter out of the spot. And there's this really crazy, like, intense, very uncomfortable scene in this other club place with these two girls and, these jerk guys, Adam, his friend, and these, like, really creepy, weird dudes. Some very intense moments, and they're very, very uncomfortable. But that, escalates things further, and eventually Carter starts to get in this mindset, like, I don't know what to do. There's no way I'm going to get out of this. She ends up getting confronted by Dan about a lot of the lies she's been telling, and then he kind of figures it out that maybe she got Adam to take the test for her, which she then confesses to Dan, but obviously nobody else knows about it at this point. And now she's having to pay Adam off in money because, he's given up on the dating thing. Now he just wants money from her. Anyway, we have this kind of break in the middle of the story, and then maybe not the middle, maybe like 100 pages in. So we still got a solid 50 pages left in the book. And then something ends up happening with Adam again, which I'm not going to spoil if you haven't read this one. But, it gets kind of crazy. There's kind of a tone change and like a little bit of a pacing break at this point in the story, which was fine. And then, we've got kind of like like I said, just kind of a tone shift, and then things, start getting crazier towards the end of the story. Regarding Adam and Dan, and then Carter, and then some other, side characters. Things just kind of get weird, and I don't want to give you too much more of it. I don't want to spoil the whole book. I think I've given you enough kind of an overview of what's going on. There's a few other crazy, intense things that happen to Carter as well that just kind of escalate how scary Adam is. A couple of pretty creepy moments. Again, I don't want to give that away if you plan on reading this one. If you've already read it, you know what I'm talking about, where things just kind of get really weird and gross in a few spots too. But yeah, overall, I would say this was a pretty good one for what it was. There's not really any kind of a supernatural angle to this one. So yeah, just as far as just like your generic kind of thriller goes, it was pretty good. Anyway, let's go ahead and move into the star rankings here. All right, here we are with the star rankings. So as you can see, this got a pretty good overall score for me. I really enjoyed this one for the most part. Characters, I went ahead and gave it a 4-star. Thought most of the characters were pretty well written. Adam was just kind of a jerk. I did not like him at all, but I thought his character as a villain was written pretty well. I took a star off, again, just because of some of the stupid decisions that Carter made. And I'm not talking about the lying and stuff like that, because obviously that was kind of central to the plot, and it made sense, like, when you become someone who starts doing things like this and start telling lies, you end up, continuing to tell lies that have to build on other lies, or you're going to get caught. And, it felt very realistic, somebody who's, maybe not really a bad person that's kind of just getting caught up in this. But it wasn't that. There were some instances in the story where she could have still been true to that role, but still made some better decisions within that. In certain conversations and dealings with a couple of people, she could have done things that would have just made more sense. Even though she was still going to be lying and, hiding what was going on. And so, I thought that her character was just a little bit dumb in those instances. I don't know if you may disagree, but that's kind of what I felt about that. So I gave her, I gave the overall characters a 4 out of 5 for that. Atmosphere in the book, this one, even though there was like no supernatural elements to it, this one was very atmospheric. It was very relatable. Well, I don't know if relatable is the right word, but it was very easy to get into Carter's mind and what it would feel like in this situation where you're just continuing to get in deeper and deeper with these things, you know, trying to cover your tracks and things like that. And just some of the very like scary, intense moments were very, very atmospheric to me. 5 stars may have been a little bit generous. Maybe 4.5 would have been more appropriate, but I felt it was worthy of a 5 here, so that's what I gave it. Plot and twist, I give it a 3. The twist, I didn't really expect the story to do what it did, where there was, like I said, about 100 pages in, we had kind of a tone and pacing break, which kind of dropped the plot down a little bit for me. But I mean, it made sense with the twist. But again, the twist didn't really surprise me. I kind of saw that coming from a mile away. No big shockers there. As far as the pacing and intrigue goes, yeah, I wasn't super intrigued. Like I didn't really feel like I needed to know more about anything. I kind of saw what was going on pretty much throughout the whole book, but the pacing was solid. Like I started reading this book. I read like one chapter last night, about 10 pages in, and then I finished the rest of the book today. About 140 pages. So, yeah, solid on pacing, intrigue. Again, I don't know how you could have made this story more intriguing, but it was all right. Overall enjoyment, I gave this, again, a 4 star out of 5. It wasn't, I mean, I really enjoyed this book, but it wasn't perfect for me. That scene, like I said, in that one club made me very uncomfortable, and I get that, that was the point. Definitely added to the atmosphere, but I didn't love it. That may not be fair, but I think the reason mostly that I took the star off here was, again, some of the character decisions and also the pacing break. Like I said, about 2/3 of the way through the book just felt like it came out of nowhere. I mean, I saw where things were kind of building up to, but it felt like it kind of just like derailed the pace of the story, unfortunately. So yeah, 4 stars, which gave me an overall score of an even 4 out of 5 after calculating everything together. No humor in this one or anything. And then if we take a look at where that falls with my overall rankings for Fear Street, it's pretty close to the middle. Yeah, it's in 4th place currently, just below Goodnight Kiss from the Super Chillers series and just above Lights Out, which was the first book I read. Yeah, pretty solid overall book. I really enjoyed this one. Definitely worth picking up and reading if you want just a good Fear Street, thriller kind of story that's not, supernatural focused in any way. And again, it's only 150 pages. Some of these books are a little bit longer. I don't know if there's any that are shorter than this, but it was just a good, little quick read. Again, nothing super, crazy. Plot was fairly predictable, if you kind of know the formula of these kind of things, but it was a good read. Enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts on this one, any other Fear Street books that you'd like me to give a try. I've got kind of the next couple of months. I've got June and August kind of mapped out as far as what I'm doing. July is kind of up for grabs as far as stories go, potentially. So we'll see how things go. Let me know any suggestions you have. I have a lot of Fear Street books. I'm still missing quite a few, though. So if there's one you want to see me read and review, and if I have it, I'll try to bump it up in the list. But that's going to wrap it up for today, guys. Not sure what our next review is going to be because I'm at the end of my May TBR. We may do the first Ghosts of Fear Street book. We may not. I may get a jump on Book Trek for June. We'll see. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. God bless you, and we will see you next time.